Hello， 大家好，我是轰酷，欢迎收看轰酷看篮球，跟你最及时具体的篮球解析。今天我们重金邀请到 Kyle Julius 来到我的频道啦，好不好？他会讲出非常多梦想家的秘辛啊。然后这支影片是接续 GM 频道的影片啊，我们两个的访问是同时一起做的，好不好？所以还没看过的记得赶快去看。好了，那就废话不多说，直接开始今天的影片吧。So，move on to the next questions. Many fans don't know why you choose to live in the middle of the season. After all, you are their favorite coach, right? A lot of Dreamers fans loves you. And the team didn't explain the reason very clearly because you know the news is very short and teams never say anything to the fans. So can you share your side of the story? Why you left the Dreamers in this difficult time?
Yeah, it was a very difficult decision. The fans have been absolutely amazing towards me. I love our fans, and I really feel terrible about the whole situation. But I want the fans and everybody to know that this was a decision that I really felt was best for the Dreamers. In the long run, this is good for the Dreamers. First of all, this is my 6th season coaching in Asia. And my boys now, Marcus is 11 and Mateo is 9. We really had a hard time in Taichung finding the right situation at school and also the right situation kind of after school for activities and things for the boys to do. The first couple of years, it was easier because the boys were a little bit younger, but it's been about 2 or 3 years in a row now where we feel like the boys are really missing out on a lot of opportunities socially. They went to was a very good school, but none of the kids really spoke English. And so our boys were constantly alone at school and weren't really getting like a social experience that we were hoping for. At the same time, my family, we really started to miss things that we're used to in Canada, friends and family. Our parents are getting older, and the family life was a really important aspect in making a decision. So we had decided going home to Canada, probably after this season was probably the next move. But as the school year started this year, things becoming increasingly difficult for our boys. So the main reason for leaving, was for my family. The next main reason was I just had, as I had mentioned to Roger earlier, I just felt like the team wasn't really responding to my coaching. I felt like the team was, really missing out on the passion and the toughness, the grit culture that we had the last couple of years. For some reason this year, it wasn't connecting with the players, and I felt like I was losing that connection with the players. And so after a bunch of bad games, I felt like we weren't playing the way that I know my teams can play. I felt like the new local players were connecting better with the local assistant coaches. And, in talking with the ownership, we felt like this was probably one of the best things for the Dreamers because the team just wasn't responding to me. The toughness and the fight and the competitiveness, I wasn't seeing it consistently. I could tell in the film sessions, I could tell in practice, I could see that they just weren't responding to me the way they had in the past. So that combined with my family and my boys, we just decided that the best thing was to kind of move forward and give the local coaches an opportunity to coach and connect better with our local players.
Yeah, that's tough. So coach, what is your next stop of your career? If Taiwanese fans want to keep following you, where should they go?
For the last couple seasons, while I've been working in Taiwan, I've been connected to the Fraser Valley Bandits of the CEBL. Well, we're actually now called the Vancouver Bandits of the CEBL. And as I was telling Roger, the CEBL is a very high level professional basketball league. It runs from May to August in Canada. Lots and lots of NBA players play in the league, lots of EuroLeague players. The best Canadians, the best Canadian coaches are coaching in it. And I've been working as the general manager for the Vancouver Bandits for the last couple seasons, and then in 2020 I was the head coach. So now I can go back to coaching in Canada. I'm going to coach the Vancouver Bandits. We're starting to build the roster now, and I'm really excited about that, and I feel very grateful and fortunate because As I said earlier, I can be in Canada. My family can be home in Canada. Our boys can go to a English-speaking school and think they can get the experience they want. And I get to continue coaching, but not only coaching, I get to coach at a really high professional level. So I'm really excited about that opportunity. And again, I feel really terrible about the way things kind of finished for me in with the Dreamers. But at the same time, I have nothing but amazing memories and nothing but great things to say about the Dreamers, the ownership, and especially our fans. I'm so in love with all of our fans, and I do think that long term, this is the best thing for the Dreamers and my family as well. So I think a good situation overall.
I want to ask you, if you need to choose one best memories in the Dreamers, what's your story?
Oh man. I think the best memory that I have would be all of those games that we won with one import. And that's why when you said that, the fans and people were very critical of me not playing local Taiwanese players, that rumor really hurt my heart, because no team in the P League has ever won the amount of games that we won with one import. And you don't win games with one import without really giving the opportunity to your local players to really step up and be special. And we did it roughly 14, 15 times in the last couple of years. And we did it on the road in some incredibly tough environments. And those memories of going back in the locker room after those games and really seeing the look on our local players' faces where they just defeated a Fubon, or they just defeated the Kings, or they just defeated, a really good team with one import, Achi making big shots, Kenny, finishing plays and guarding the other team's import. I took so much pride in that. And another thing too that I don't think people talk about, but even this year, we were the only team that had all Taiwanese blood as our locals. We didn't use a foreign student. People say Kenny is not Taiwanese, and that really hurts my feelings too. Kenny's mom is Taiwanese. Kenny has Taiwanese blood running through his veins. No other team did that. Even last year, we didn't use a foreign student. We had Kenny and Randy. Randy's mother is Taiwanese. Randy has Taiwanese blood running through his veins. There's a lot to this story about the Dreamers in my era, where that we were the first to do things in the P League, and I'm really proud of that. So I have so many great memories, but just the fact that we won so many games with one import, we even did it this year. That really shows that we developed our local players. That really shows that we gave confidence to our local players. And okay, maybe this year I didn't play one or two local players, but it was just, for me, I told you, it was systematic. It was just me trying to always have the best offensive lineup out there. Nothing more than that, nothing less, nothing personal. I just knew that we needed offense. And with that being said, my greatest memory is us going into places like Fubon and winning with one import in the finals, 2 years ago. And let's talk basketball. If Jaren Young doesn't get sick and leave, I think we're champions that year. I really believe it. And last year, Steph Jankovic doesn't get hurt. Man, people did not want to play us with Steph and Brandon. So to finish your question, my greatest memory is really all of those games with, one import, and really winning at home and on the road, and just being in the locker room and just knowing that those Taiwanese players were getting better. That really gave me just a great sense of pride. Leaving here, I feel really good about that.
People kind of just easily to forget what Dreamers do or what you do, because after all, the language is a barrier. So fans cannot directly, connect to you, because they have to go through media, go through like teams. So I think the hardcore fans will remember what you do.
But the next thing that always goes through my mind here when I leave is, and I don't know if the fans know this, but it led to a lot of, funny events. It led to a lot of rumors about me. But when you play for me, I will pour my heart and soul into the team, and I will coach with my heart every single day. And part of that approach is kind of why I have to leave. Because when you play for me, quite often I put the team before my family. Most days, the team comes first. The hours that I spend outside of practice, meeting with players and going to see them at night and making sure they're okay and things like this. And, even spending my own money buying training equipment just to make sure that we had extra, those 2 tires that you see in the gym, those big 350-pound tires that the Dreamers are, that we always flip as part of our culture of toughness. Everybody flips the tire 10 times after every single practice. Even if it's a 3-hour practice, we make sure that we flip the tire after. I went out and bought those myself just to make sure that, we had them. And when I left the Dreamers, it was very sad. It was very painful. It was very difficult, but I know that I poured my heart and soul into these players and into the team and making sure that the team always came first. And so with that being said, that's part of why it was important for me to leave when I did, was because now I really need to start putting my family, first, for sure. For me, I don't know, the fans probably don't know that, but that's why you hear the rumors about coach didn't shake hands or coach was going to get into a fight or the coach said this or all these things. It's because I treat my players like family. I want to protect my players. I fight for my players. I probably shouldn't say that gets me into trouble. Everybody knows the famous jumping up on the net and pulling the net down in the playoffs a couple years ago, and nobody even really knows the true story behind that. I don't think it was ever really told, but the bottom line is I've always put my players before even my own family, and for that, I'm proud. But at the same time, I know now that it's time to put my family, before the players for a little while as well.
I think the Dreamers player is going to miss you a lot. So thanks again for coming to our episode and our YouTube channel. So thank you, Coach.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure.